To the earliest people who gazed over its rim, and to all those who have come after them, Hell's Canyon has displayed what the awesome power of nature can do. For centuries, the Snake River has carved its mark upon the landscape, flowing through what is now eastern Oregon and western Idaho. Biting its way down deeper and deeper, the boiling water has forced the surrounding soil and rock to yield. The result is a gorge of such depth and utter beauty that it boggles one's mind just to look at it. Nature has played a powerful hand in this canyon, the Hell's Canyon of the Snake River, some 100 miles long and the deepest river gorge in North America. Hell's Canyon continues to be a work in progress by nature and by the United States Forest Service, who has been entrusted to care for this remarkable landscape. Because of its outstanding recreational values, rich archaeological and historical sites, and exceptional ecological resources, the Hell's Canyon National Recreation Area was created by Congress in 1975. First as National Forest System lands, and now as a National Recreation Area, the Forest Service has managed much of the Hell's Canyon country for more than 100 years, years that were marked by the changing needs of the American people. These changing needs have brought about an important shift in management emphasis by the Forest Service. The 652,000 acres of the Hell's Canyon National Recreation Area are immense by any measure, from the wilderness of Idaho's Seven Devils Mountains to Oregon's rim rock and mountain slopes. Roads are few. Simply to drive around the recreation area requires traveling in 3 states and takes nearly 2 days. The landscape is one of nature's finest. These mountains were once buried beneath the sea, part of a volcanic mountain chain in the South Pacific. Pushed by the relentless collision of the seafloor and the continent, the mountains moved slowly but surely upward. As the building of the mountains progressed, volcanic activity left portions of the land covered with lava flows. Meanwhile, the erosive power of the Snake River began to cut its way through the rock to form Hell's Canyon. Over about 2 million years, a relatively short geologic period of time, the river cut the gorge as it is today, more than 1.5 miles deep. Forest Service archaeologists have uncovered some of Hell's Canyon's untold tales by studying signs of the canyon's earliest inhabitants. After investigating pictographs, pit house villages, and rock shelters, archaeologists believe the canyon has been occupied by humans for at least 7,000 years. They have identified more than 700 prehistoric sites, earning the canyon distinction as a National Register district for its archaeological and historic resources. The ancestors of today's Nez Perce Indians made their home in Hell's Canyon, migrating to the river during the winter months from summer villages at higher elevations. In 1877, mounting tensions between the Euro-American settlers and the Nez Perce resulted in the forced expulsion of the Nez Perce from their homeland. The exodus is marked by the Nez Perce National Historic Trail, which crosses the Hell's Canyon National Recreation Area. Only the hardiest homesteaders ever settled in Hell's Canyon, yet miners and explorers traversed the region extensively. During the first half of the 20th century, the Forest Service managed lands in the Hell's Canyon region to meet the demands of a growing industrial nation. Ranchers who had historically grazed livestock on Hell's Canyon's benches and across the high country received Forest Service grazing permits. Rich stands of ponderosa pine, Douglas fir, and spruce were harvested, providing wood for homes and pulp for paper. When proposals were made in the early 70s to dam Hell's Canyon, national attention was focused on the area. Congress responded in 1975 by establishing the Hell's Canyon National Recreation Area, leaving the land under the continued management of the Forest Service, but changing its status. The Hells Canyon National Recreation Area Act was passed to provide for public enjoyment of recreation, to preserve important archaeological and historical sites, and to protect the fragile ecology of an expanse of land about the size of Rhode Island. The legislation preserved Hells Canyon's free-flowing Snake River as part of the National Wild and Scenic River System, and set aside more than one-third of the national recreation area as the Hells Canyon Wilderness. This provides a mix of opportunities, ranging from popular developed recreation sites to lesser-used areas of wilderness and wild and scenic rivers where natural processes prevail. The Hells Canyon National Recreation Area includes portions of the Nez Perce, Payette, and Wallowa-Whitman National Forests. For consistency's sake, the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest manages the entire area. In compliance with the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area Act, the Forest Service completed a comprehensive management plan for the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area in 1984. The direction set forth by Congress is clearly reflected in our management priorities. Protect cultural and ecological resources. Provide visitors with diverse recreational opportunities. Protect wilderness and wild and scenic river values. Respect concerns of private landowners. Improve customer service. And work with others outside of the Forest Service who share our goal to enhance the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area. The Hells Canyon National Recreation Area Act allowed for some continued use of natural resources, such as harvesting timber or providing forage for domestic livestock, but only when such use was compatible with the primary purposes named in the legislation. As a result, the Forest Service's management plan greatly reduced the amount of timber harvested in comparison with that harvested before 1975. Today, timber harvest occurs on just 12% of the National Recreation Area, and is about one-third of that harvested before the recreation area was established. Timber cutting occurs when it can enhance the recreation area. Trees may be harvested if they have been attacked by insects and disease, or damaged by forest fire, or if cutting them improves conditions for wildlife, or creates a vista for visitors. Forest Service professionals are working to restore landscapes to a natural appearance and protect the variety of resources the recreation area has to offer. The Forest Service has forged partnerships with state fish and wildlife agencies, resulting in improved Rocky Mountain elk populations, the reintroduction of bighorn sheep, and the successful release of peregrine falcons. The Forest Service is also working to ensure protection of essential habitat for threatened and endangered ocean-going salmon species. With state fish and wildlife agencies and Native Americans, we are surveying streams and making improvements to fish habitat. For example, on the Imnaha River, fisheries biologists have re-established shade zones and resting pools by carefully placing trees into the stream bed. We've also worked with state fish and wildlife agencies to build a fish weir that safely captures salmon, which in turn supply eggs for fish hatcheries. In tandem with our wildlife management work, the Forest Service permits domestic livestock grazing on certain lands within the recreation area. Wildlife species receive priority over domestic animals should any conflict develop between the two. We're working with ranchers to control the intensity and duration of livestock grazing to preserve the integrity of the recreation area. Each year, thousands of visitors enjoy the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area by road, trail, or boat. Visitors travel the Snake River in kayaks, rafts, and float boats, and a variety of power boats. Private boating is popular, and with commercial boating supports a multi-million-dollar industry. The canyon attracts visitors from around the world. Some who come to challenge the Snake River's thundering whitewater, and others who prefer exploring the rugged high country. The number of visitors to the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area has increased nearly threefold during the 1980s. And with annual visitor days topping 500,000, the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area has become one of the most popular recreation sites in eastern Oregon and western Idaho. Economists estimate that visitors to Hells Canyon annually generate over $5 million in local income. Today, the Forest Service has increased its investment in recreational facilities within the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area to protect resources and to provide for visitors' needs, fulfilling the original provisions of the management plan. For example, the Forest Service has built the Hells Canyon Overlook, reached via a 3-mile-long road on the canyon's western rim. The overlook provides the first paved access to the rim of the canyon. From here, visitors enjoy a panoramic view of nature's work. We've also improved the road to the Hat Point Overlook. This overlook allows access to a popular area on the western rim. The Forest Service has improved the Hells Canyon Creek Recreation Site below the Hells Canyon Dam, refurbishing the boat ramp, providing a specialized lift to the dock for mobility-impaired visitors, and building a small information station. The boat ramp at Pittsburgh Landing is also being replaced, giving recreationists more room to stage their gear. A small 28-unit campground at the landing will help protect and interpret important archaeological remains. The Kirkwood Historic Ranch, once the home of former Idaho Senator and Governor Len B. Jordan, attracts over 20,000 visitors each year. During the 1980s, with limited funding and the help of volunteers, the Forest Service restored the ranch's historic buildings. A new exhibit with pictures and artifacts shows visitors the ranch in its earliest days. New exhibits are also under construction at the Wallowa Mountains Visitors Center in Enterprise, Oregon. More than ever before, Forest Service personnel are available to assist Hells Canyon National Recreation Area visitors. River rangers, both in rafts and powerboats, provide information, law enforcement, and improved campsite maintenance. Increased wilderness ranger patrols encourage no-trace camping and provide backcountry trail maintenance. What does the future hold? Plans to highlight the newly designated Hells Canyon Scenic Byway, which passes through Oregon and Idaho. Studies to determine the types of visitor facilities that would best serve population centers in Lewiston, Idaho, and Clarkston, Washington, Riggins, Idaho, and Halfway, Oregon. We have also recently convened a citizens task force. We're using the public's ideas to enhance public enjoyment while protecting wild and scenic river values. From the deepest gorge in North America to high mountain peaks, Hells Canyon continues to be nature's work in progress. As boaters travel through the Hells Canyon of the Snake River and visitors gaze down on the crashing water from the canyon rim, the Forest Service rededicates itself to be effective stewards of this magnificent national recreation area. We recognize Hells Canyon as an area unique in natural wonder, blanketed with the solitude of wilderness, yet sought after by many who visit each year. We're committed to managing Hells Canyon's complex ecosystem, preserving its historical record, working with others who share our commitment to the area, and maintaining the remote, rugged, natural character of the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area for present and future generations to marvel at and enjoy.